Hey, hello everyone. My name's Nbz, as you probably already know. I'm joined here by Bally today. Hi, Bally.
Hello.
And we're of course here to discuss the Nintendo Direct for April 1st, 2015, which just wrapped up mere 20 minutes ago. So it's pretty fresh on the mind. We have a lot of stuff to discuss here. Bally, what did you think initially before we go into this? What were your expectations coming to this Nintendo Direct? Because we'd heard some rumbling, some rumors about potentially there being one coming soon. There were the kind of the eShop releases at the start of the week, which were very thin, which kind of suggested there would be a Nintendo Direct. What was your expectations for this April Fool's thing that was going down?
Yeah, I mainly ignored rumors. But as usual, my hopes weren't overly high for these Nintendo Directs. I've definitely made the mistake in the past of getting pretty excited about them, thinking that there's going to be some pretty big announcements, and been pretty disappointed. So I went in with my anticipating not a lot, and there was actually quite a lot.
Yeah. And as I said in my predictions video, that's kind of the best way to go about it. If you set your expectations low and they end up, just being blown out of the water, then hey, you're just happier for it. If you're coming into this expecting a 20-minute Zelda demo and Star Fox flying through on a Platinum Games spaceship, then you're not going to get very far in life, I don't think, as many people found out. Obviously, kind of this Star Fox supposed leak beforehand, but turned out not to be true. So, Bally, how about we just go ahead and start talking about what was released, what was unveiled, and begin at the top. And I have to give Bally thanks here because I told him I was recording my live reactions as I have done in the past, and you'll see that video tomorrow, hopefully. I said, Bally, can you write down everything that happens so that we have a nice list to go through? And Bally did just that. So,
I'm
Bally,
a proper journalist.
as the man who wrote the list, I would like you to lead us through these events. So how about you
Sure.
things off?
So to kick it off, we got a relatively predictable announcement. It was the shink onto the
The
screen, and I think everyone immediately knew Mewtwo's here,
Yeah.
almost. So Mewtwo was basically revealed. We saw him doing some moves, jumping about the screen, attacking all the other characters, blah blah
hmm
blah. He looked pretty standard, really. His final smash did involve Mewtwo Y.
Yes, it is
X
Y. It is Y that
It's
he turned
Y,
into. Uh,
which was pretty cool for I assume a final smash. And then they announced that he's going to be available April 28th.
Yeah, well, that was interesting because they announced the release date for the general public who hadn't bought both versions of the game, first of all, and a price. Did you get the price? I think it was around £3.50 or £4.50, something like that,
I
is what I
missed
saw.
it, and I was kind of blanked that in my mind because I knew we were getting it for free. But yeah,
Right.
probably should have
Right.
checked
Well,
that.
it's not a high price. Like it doesn't seem super high, considering how much effort and resources goes into creating these characters. £3.50, like that's not bad, all things considered, for a character in Smash Brothers. So that's the general release. That's everyone's on the 28th. But we get it 2 weeks earlier. Not quite my prediction, because my prediction was it was going to be announced at the direct and then just dropped, like download it now. But it was actually announced for April 15th, which is in a couple of weeks' time. So pretty soon, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun time. I'm not the biggest fan of Mewtwo personally. I know you aren't either. Like as a character in Melee, he wasn't one that I gravitated towards. I didn't use him that much, but he looks great. Like the moves that he has seem pretty similar. Maybe a couple of new things. It looked like a couple of new things in the moveset there. Do you notice anything, Bally, in particular?
Not particularly. I was just going to add, are you sure it was April 15th? I believe that April 15th was going to be the final deadline. No, April 15th is when we were going to receive the code, but then we can't download it till April 28th, is the way I interpreted it.
Did they? I don't know.
I don't
That's
know why
weird.
there's that gap, but but on April 15th you do get the next announcement, which we'll get to in a second.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't, because I was kind of talking over the direct as I was doing my live reaction video, so I may have missed that. But my kind of assumption was because we bought 2 games, we should get it 2 weeks earlier than everyone else. Like that was my kind of logical thought
Uh,
process. Because like you think they want to reward the people who bought the game early and who bought both versions of it, right? So they'd give it to us early. They'd let us use Mewtwo before everyone else. It seemed, I don't
yeah,
know, it seemed
I'm
logical to
pretty
me.
sure. I'm pretty sure that wasn't the case, but I might be wrong.
Okay, well, we'll see. But they did announce as you were kind of moving on to some new costumes and stuff, and a lot of different things involving Smash Brothers. So how about we talk about those? Some Mii costumes announced. Those are going to be kind of microtransaction-y cosmetic DLC, as people like to call it. A lot of games companies do this for their games, and it's not the worst kind of DLC. It's not the sort of thing that I get hung up on because there's all it is stuff that makes your characters look different, and this is only going to change the Mii costumes. There's nothing to do with the main characters. So we have like some Link outfits and like Zero Suit Samus or something I saw, I think. But the one that caught my eye was Dunban from Xenoblade. That looked fucking rad. So if there's anything that I'm going to drop money on in terms of Mii costumes, I'm getting myself a Dunban outfit for my Mii.
Not the Mega Man ones.
Well, those look cool as well. Proto Man looks really fucking rad. Mega Man X, definitely the Mega Man one's probably next up on the list after Dunban. But my man Dunban, you can't go wrong. And you're gonna meet Dunban very soon, Bally, because you're gonna be playing Xenoblade tomorrow, which I'm excited about. So that's cool.
Can't wait.
Yeah, looking forward. So those were maybe like 79p it seemed on the stream. Again, like a lot of information being thrown at me, but it seemed about that much money.
Yeah, I missed the price on that one as well, but
But those seem reasonable. Like it's cosmetic. It's kind of the same idea as the 3DS theme. The 3DS themes cost about £1.50 upwards, kind of lower depending on what kind of one it is. But yeah, it works for me. I'm not worried about that stuff.
And then they announced, this was a bit out of the blue, really. They
Yeah.
announced Lucas.
Yes.
So they did, and they showed him in a similar way to Mewtwo. They said, here he is fighting the other characters, blah, blah, blah. Look at this interesting moveset. His moveset looked relatively similar to Brawl, in my opinion, but I don't really know the character very well. I know that there's a lot of the competitive community that do like Lucas, so that's interesting. And the whole chat just burst into Mother 3
Oh yeah, I said it as
when
well.
Lucas was revealed. And it was almost like when the camera came back to Iwata, the way he said something sounded like he was about to announce Mother 3, but didn't. It was quite. I don't know if you felt that at all, but I kind of felt like he was about to announce.
I was getting vibes from the E3 direct that they did when Reggie obviously burned that guy who said Mother 3 in the Robot Chicken skit. And I was actually kind of mentioning this beforehand, the fact that it's April Fool's and they could pull that shit again, some kind of ridiculous, stupid shit. But they didn't. And, I mean, fair enough. Mother 3 is... it's so funny because Nintendo know about it. Like, they've openly referenced it before. They keep teasing people. One of these days, it's going to happen, Bally. Like, I almost guarantee
it will happen. Yeah, why not? I mean, it just takes a bit of localization and whap it on the eShop, and it's there.
Absolutely, and I think that would, people would go fucking crazy if that happened. It would be one of the biggest announcements in a very long time for Nintendo. So, potentially great. But yeah, Lucas, looking good. I didn't play much of Lucas. I've been playing a lot of Ness. I actually played against you this evening when we were playing Smash as Ness, and I like him quite a bit. I think he's got a really good style, and Lucas is very similar, but has some kind of nuances. It's very much, I feel, a Fox Falco situation with Ness Lucas. Like, they are kind of at a basic level the same, but they are very different when you look at their moveset and the stuff they can do. Lucas can use his snake to grapple onto the ledge like Zero Suit Samus can, and like Link and these other grappling characters can. So there's definitely variation there, and I'm looking forward to it. Also interested. I guess his final Smash will probably be similar to Ness's, if I imagine, like the way it was in Brawl, right? So it'll probably be the same.
And then there was probably, I'm sure you'll agree, but in my opinion, definitely the biggest Smash announcement of the lot.
Yeah.
They announced, what's the name? Smash Brothers Fighter Ballot.
Okay, so do you want to explain what this is, Bally?
So this is Nintendo opening themselves up to democracy. This is
in a
the
crazy
ability
way.
for anyone, no matter how great or small you are, you can go onto this website that I believe has been opened now. And you can go on and you fill out a form on which character you would like to appear in Smash. And it's very simple. You fill out the character name, the game they appear in, and why they should appear in Smash. And then you click send, and it goes straight to Sakurai. And it's just
crazy.
great. It's
That's
just
crazy.
great.
It's so fucking nuts, man. Like,
Yeah.
I was seeing a lot of people on Twitter talk about how, like, Goku is now a reality to be in Smash Brothers because people are just going to spam the shit out of that kind of stuff. I saw Magnitude post a tweet, a picture of him submitting Darth Maul for
You never know. You never know.
And obviously, like, a lot of this stuff is not going to happen. Like, it's so ridiculous. It's not going to happen. But there's the possibility, you know, there's the dream. I think there will be many people voting for Wolf and Ice Climbers. That seems like a lot of people are just going to go for the old familiars who are dropped on the roster.
Fruit.
Right. I mean, the kind of the easy stuff, like, which is fine. You go ahead and vote for Wolf and Ice Climbers if you really want. Personally, I would much more prefer that people focus on new characters. And in my live reaction video, I said, you motherfuckers go vote for Shovel Knight right now. You vote for Shovel Knight or you die.
Yeah.
Like, do that. Because I think that would be a fucking awesome addition.
I think we should start a campaign right here, right now on this Nintendo Life for Shovel Knight. I think that's a little thing we should get on the go. So definitely go check that out and vote for him.
Yeah, so opening the floodgates. And I don't know, man. This you know, Nintendo were kind of coy. I mean, it was more Sakurai who was coy about, like, more characters, but this news today, not only unveiling a second new DLC character in Lucas, but just opening everything as a possibility, Smash Brothers is going to have a very, very long and fruitful life, I think, and there's going to be DLC aplenty, like, not only for the rest of this year, but probably throughout the whole of 2016, maybe into even 2017. This game is going to keep growing, and you think how big the roster is to start with, like over 50 characters, and it's getting bigger. Like, there's no stopping this train. It's off the tracks, man. It's flying through the sky. The hype train is real, and you better get on it, because Jesus Christ. So, yes, that was big.
So, that was a massive announcement, and then obviously a massive announcement has to be followed up by a slightly lesser announcement, and that is the next wave of Amiibo. Yay!
Oh, yeah,
so
Amiibo.
I think there was like Olimar in there. I can't.
Zero Suit Samus.
Zero Suit Samus, Ganondorf. There are a few others, all very exciting. I'm sure everyone's really excited about those.
Which you aren't, obviously, and neither am I. I mean, I don't know. Like, the thing with the Amiibos is there are characters that I care about and want, and I pre-ordered a Shulk Amiibo a while back, and Amazon didn't fulfill my order, and I don't have it. But in the end, like, I don't have it. I probably will never get it, but whatever. Like, it's kind of one of those things. I would love to have a Shulk Amiibo, but if I don't own one, so be it. Like, I can live without that in my life, so we'll see. But yeah, people
until
like
it has some amazing use in Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Oh yeah, man! If it opens up like an extra area or some shit, fuck, I'm on eBay to buy a Shulk Amiibo. I'll tell you that straight up.
Yeah.
So.
And then one Amiibo announcement was on to another Amiibo announcement.
Oh, it never ends, does it? Never ends.
It never ends. Genuinely never ends. So this was Amiibo Touch and Play. I think it was Amiibo Touch and Play : Nintendo Classics Highlights.
Ooh, very elongated title.
Yeah, this is basically software that we can all download for free, and then you can basically take your Amiibo, you touch it on your gamepad, and you can play 3 minutes of a large variety of SNES and NES classics.
Yeah.
Which is a bit weird, and it's not even. I think they even made it clear that a particular character doesn't link to a particular their own game. It's like a random chocolate box each time.
Right. There was the quote, the Forrest Gump quote, that Iwata was like, "Oh, it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get."
Yeah. So yeah, I think that a game is fixed to an Amiibo, maybe by lottery or something. I don't know, but
right. Or it could be just the moment at which you touch it, it randomly does it.
Yeah, and I got the impression that that one game will be fixed to that amiibo. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it does benefit people who have lots, and Iwata suggested, oh, you can trade your amiibos with your friends and play 3 minutes of these other games. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yay.
honestly, this is kind of a non-announcement because we knew this was coming. Iwata had mentioned in an investor briefing a while ago that they were planning on using amiibos to give access to older games. And what people initially thought about that was, oh my God, you get free NES or Super Nintendo games for touching an amiibo. That's value. That is real value because it's you get the figure and you're paying a premium for the figure, but you also get a full game along with it, and people were kind of excited about that. It turns out the reality is like way further away from that because it's a
Yeah.
really short, very limited demo. It just is again a very kind of specific marketing thing for their virtual console titles. Just like in Smash Brothers, they have the demos in Smash Brothers, which last very short amount of time, and it allows people to get a tiny taste. But honestly, I think this is just a bad way of trying to get people to the virtual console because it doesn't give you enough time to get into these games and understand them. And I think they would have been better served to do something more fruitful with Amiibo and older games than this, honestly. So.
Yeah, it's not the best, and I personally found it quite interesting that it was Amiibo Touch and Play colon Nintendo Classics highlights, implying that there's going to be a range of different Amiibo Touch and Play software out there. So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is the start of something that might be, oh, you can touch. It's just the start of a series of things that are going to benefit people with large Amiibo collections, implying, oh, if you don't have a large Amiibo collection, you better go get one because of all this
Yeah.
cool stuff you can do. And I really just don't want to fall for that kind of of thing in general. But yeah, so interesting announcement, not the best. And then we went on to, did you know, Nbz, it is Mario Brothers 30th anniversary.
Yeah, that was something that I kind of slipped my mind. I was like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, we are in that kind of period. The other interesting thing that a lot of people were mentioning regarding the Zelda delay, next year is the 30th anniversary of Zelda, because Skyward Sword obviously came out the 25th anniversary of Zelda, which was 2011. 2016 is the 30th anniversary of Zelda, so that might line up quite nicely, actually, for the Wii U version of the new series. So we'll see how that works out. But how about you talk about Mario for the time being, seeing that's relevant?
Sure, well, they basically said it's Mario's 30th anniversary. Mario Maker is going to represent that anniversary, and here's it was sort of a trailer. Yeah, it was a trailer of some new Mario Maker stuff. They were showing that you could share your creations online. They didn't exactly show exactly how that worked, but they definitely said it was there. They said this could be the first step in you becoming a successful games creator or something. They said there was some line in there that was quite well put together, I thought.
Yeah, did you see any QR codes anywhere? Because that would immediately jump to me as like the way they kind of set up a sharing system.
I didn't.
I actually saw it looked like an upload button was there, so maybe they just throw them all up on a server and then you can search for them via some sort of listing system.
Yeah,
that kind of makes sense.
I just really hope they get that system right, and I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of critical. That's critical
to
to just the success of this game is making the share features accessible and easy to use, because honestly that's the crux of it for majority of the users here. Most people are going to be playing other people's levels. Like for me personally, great, I can mess around in the creator a little bit, but I'm not going to go out there and spend all my time making these crazy things. There will be other people doing that, and I want it to be easy for me to access those levels. So as long as they do a good job of that, that's fine. And what they also showed, it looked like they could string different levels together, which is what something that Jeff Gerstmann pointed out that he wanted in Mario Maker, at E3 last year.
The ability to make a world.
Right, the ability to like have your own kind of game, as it were, that you can just seamlessly make 4 or 5 or however many levels, string them together and have that be a single world that you play, like your own world 1 of Mario. And it would be really interesting, for example, if you did like a kind of progression through the ages thing, where the first world is the original Mario Brothers art style, the second world moves to 3, and then we move to world and then new, and kind of have like, there's lots of different things you can do with that. Have a complete original pack, have a complete three. The possibilities are endless, and hopefully, if they nail that down, they'll be good. So, looking.
And I definitely noticed a few of the more iconic items, costumes that you can get in the different Mario games. So, for example, the cape in Super Mario World, that was definitely something that wasn't in the game before. So it's interesting that they've now got those generation-specific items, because the ability to swap between the art styles means that how are they going to incorporate those items in games that have that they haven't been in that world before? So that'll be interesting to see how that works.
Yeah, because you can just switch on the fly, can't you? So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
So and that's coming in September. They said.
So that kind of makes me interested in. Sorry, the cross-talk, just talking over each other. I was going to say, that makes me interested in when Xenoblade's coming out, because we actually heard nothing about Xenoblade in this direct.
Yeah.
I was pinning...
Suggests November then, doesn't it? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I was pinning Xenoblade as the September release, so maybe it will be an October game? That could work. I mean, it could go into the Bayonetta slot. That's where Bayonetta kind of wound up last year. That could work, so we'll see. That's a potential.
So then after Mario Maker, we cut to Europe. So if you're not a European, I do apologize, but we're just going to talk about Europe, although I'm sure we covered a lot of the same stuff that you guys got in North America and the rest of the world. So Shibata started off with Woolly World, and he mentioned a couple of modes in Woolly World. So one was this ability where you could swap between classic mode and mellow mode on the fly, so at any time. Classic mode was general classic Yoshis Island, kind of regular, and then mellow mode, you had the ability to have wings on Yoshi at any time, which basically makes the game a bit easier to pick up and play for the kiddlywinks out there, I guess.
Yeah, many kiddlywinks, I'm sure, who are going to be co-op partners to parents playing Yoshi's Woolly World. That makes a lot of sense. I like that they've put this in here. It's a good wink to like the Final Smash in Smash Brothers, his wings. I'm not sure where those originated from, because they must have originated from somewhere to become the Final Smash in Smash Brothers. But that was cool.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Super Mario World.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm kind of interested if there'll be an option to have one player playing in one mode while the other plays in the other. Like, I'm thinking of a scenario where the adult wants to be normal Yoshi and the kid wants to play in the easier mode with wings. That it kind of wouldn't make sense if they didn't have that in there. But it's nice that there is the variation here, because I think a lot of people's complaints about Goodfield's last game, which was Kirby's Epic Yarn, was it was way too easy. A lot of people complained that that game, didn't have any challenge, and that it was fun and looked adorable and fantastic, but there was no real obstacles that you would come up against, and you couldn't die. There was no threat there. So it's nice that they are now giving us the standard kind of classic platforming difficulty alongside the option, if you want to have that Kirby's Epic Yarn experience, which it's a nice medium to live between, and I'm glad they did it. Just so variety's great. Have more options. That's what I say. So good stuff.
Yeah, and I thought it was looking pretty great in general. I was really happy with how that game was looking. And then quite an interesting sort of surprise announcement was the Woolly World Amiibo announcement, which was
This is the only Amiibo I'm going to get excited about, Bally, ever in my life.
So this is a Yoshi's Epic Yarn, goodness me.
I know, we're getting confused.
Yoshi's Woolly World Amiibo, and it's actually made of yarn. Like it is a or wool, exactly. Yeah. It's a woolen Amiibo, and it just looks pretty cool. And I think it comes in 3 or 4 colors. And then on top of that, there's going to be a bundle that comes out with the game, and the whole thing comes out on June 26th.
Yes, and I also want to point out here that there was a European release date leak that happened a while ago, maybe a week or so ago, and it said Yoshi was coming out on the 26th of June. So all of those release dates were correct, basically, as it turned out, as we went through the presentation. But, I saw those woolen Amiibos, and I was like, oh my god, I want an amiibo. I want an amiibo. I shouldn't. This shouldn't happen. This shouldn't be the case. But
Well,
it looks
there's a
adorable.
bundle for you, Nbz, and it's coming June the 26th. So
Oh,
they're setting you up, you know.
I'm
They're
gonna have
saying,
to make this decision, man, because that looks so fucking cool. And the thing is, like, we know how scarce the amiibo situation is. I think trying to get your hand on one of these is going to be really hard because they seem way more desirable than the others, generally.
maybe they'll make more as a result. You never
Yeah,
know.
and they did say they're doing 3 different colors, so there's probably a likelihood they will try and saturate the market a bit more with this one, especially if it has specific use in this game. They didn't confirm whether the other Yoshi amiibos would work with Woolly World. Maybe they will. Maybe that will also be a possibility. So, we'll find out. But did you mention what the amiibo does in the game? Do you not remember? Because I
Is,
remember. I can
is
tell you.
it is it like you get another character to throw as an egg or something?
Right, yeah, so you just basically your amiibo follows along with you and you can throw it at obstacles if you don't have eggs, basically. It just acts as like a bonus thing there, which is cool. It's kind of like single player co-op to some extent, have a bonus player there. So, yep, it's nothing revolutionary, but it's more stuff to do with amiibo. So, there you go.
And then the next announcement was another game that is coming, well, much sooner than June 26th, and that is Splatoon.
Yeah!
So they showed some new footage. It all looked quite samey, I guess. A new couple of modes. There's one where you're sort of defending an area, and you have to sort of keep that one little area your color. So it's almost like King of the Hill sort of style gameplay where you have to keep your area your color of paint. They also announced another mode where you're going against your rival trying to pop more balloons around the map than they are. And then on top of that, they showed like missions and gear that was exclusive to a new wave of amiibos for Splatoon. So it's been
Bally, how many
amiibo
times do you think the
crazy.
word amiibo was uttered during this presentation? Because I have a guess it's in like the 50s, if not higher.
It was like, I think you could replace the word Nintendo with Amiibo. It was so bad.
Yeah.
They should just rename the company Amiibo.
They should. Like, fuck it. Fuck
like
video games. Let's sell fucking toys.
that's
Oh.
exactly like who needs the NX? It's just gonna be called the Amiibo. Like it's just I don't know. It's mental. So yeah, there's basically 3 or 4.
There are 3. So they've got the female and the male squid
And then
people.
the exclusive squid that they
Yeah.
said there's a limit. They emphasized this. They said this is a limited one, and everyone was like, "Oh my god,
I have to buy the special edition on Amazon.
I have to get the special edition one." So, and then if you like that Willy World bundle, they're gonna make another bundle for Splatoon, which comes with an amiibo, and that's all coming out on May the 29th here
Yep.
in Europe.
Again, that was kind of confirmed from the leak May 29th. It makes sense. It's right before E3, couple of weeks before E3, so good thing to get excited about going into that. And maybe they'll have some kind of Splatoon presence at E3 with like a tournament, like they did with Smash Brothers last year. Who knows? Maybe a bit of speculation there. But yeah, those new modes looks pretty cool. They did talk about the amiibo functionality in Splatoon being like cosmetic again, being like giving you, extra missions which would allow you to unlock cosmetic things that you put like on your hair and costumes. So again, it's stuff that's unnecessary for the average player. Like, you don't need it to be part of that experience, but if you like customization, then you're probably going to like the amiibo functionality here, and that's fair enough. I think those amiibos actually look really high quality, those Splatoon ones. So
Yeah, definitely. And then after that, it was all a couple of smaller announcements. There was some affordable. I missed the name of this game. It's some space game on the eShop.
yeah, it's an indie game. It's called Affordable Space Adventures. From what I understand, it's kind of a multiplayer thing, where you're going around in a spaceship trying to navigate these areas and get through them. It looked cool. I mean, it's nothing that I'm gonna go out and buy straight away, but I've heard some good things about it, and maybe it's worth a download at some point. Who knows? But yeah, it's a cool indie. Indies are cool.
And then there was another game that I wasn't very interested in called Swords and Soldiers 2.
Yeah, no, it's the same for me. Like, I pretty much ignored the whole of this trailer or talk about it. It's a strategy game, but like from a 2D perspective, and it's kind of tower defensey as well. I don't like tower defense games generally. Like, I mean, the only tower defense game I ever got invested in was Plants vs Zombies, and aside
That's
from
sort of
that,
like the king of tower defense iOS games, isn't it?
yeah, Plants vs Zombies is fantastic, a really, really great game. But generally, I don't like tower defense, and it seemed like this was kind of a mix of strategy tower defense stuff, which, not my scene. But I don't know, it's got a cool art style, and hey, it's another indie game for the eShop, so I'm not complaining. It's always good to have more stuff there. So
It does definitely make them look diverse when they're showing off all these.
yeah,
other
and you need to do that, especially with lack of third parties. You have to bring
Mm.
some indies in there to beef the lineup. So yeah.
And then there was a really big announcement that they kind of said quite quickly and off the cuff, and everyone just kind of, well, I was definitely just sitting on my laptop like, wow, that's a
Yeah.
really big announcement. And so the Wii U, which is already the home to the Virtual Console for NES, Super NES, Game Boy Advance, and Wii, is now going to also be the home to the DS and the N64.
Yes, and I actually predicted as my final prediction the N64 games were going to come to the Wii Virtual Console as part of kind of a multi-pronged thing, which was a bit more ambitious than what actually happened. But yes, they are coming. And what games are we going to have,
So
Bally?
for the DS, you can either have, or you can have both, is Mario Kart DS or WarioWare Touched.
Yep.
Both great games. Both of us have played both those games to death, so we're definitely not going to purchase those. And
No,
then
no need to.
on the N64 was interesting. So Mario 64 is arriving, which is not a very big surprise at all. But the interesting one was Donkey Kong 64 for a number of reasons. First of all, this was not available on the Wii Virtual Console back in the day. For some reason, there was some issue that Nintendo just weren't able to pull it off. I can't remember the reason why. I suggested it was to do with the Rare, but you obviously said, Nbz, that, well, Rare also made the Donkey Kong Country games, and they obviously did come to the Virtual Console. So it's a funny one, and I don't think certainly in your mind, Nbz, it's not a game that's aged very well at all. So bit of a weird one, that.
Yeah, Donkey Kong 64, I forced myself to watch Nintendo Capri Sun's Let's Play of it because I love Nintendo Capri Sun so much that I would stick through thick and thin no matter what he played at that time in my life, and I kind of regret doing that because that game is a steaming pile of shit, in my honest opinion. It is garbage. Jesus Christ, Donkey Kong 64 is probably one of the most painful games I've ever had the unfortunate experience of watching. So no, I am not buying Donkey Kong 64. No, never.
Well, there you go. Don't download Donkey Kong 64. And then a couple of games I would be interested in, maybe even both of them. They've announced that Paper Mario for the N64 is coming out in May, and Yoshi's Island DS, which I've not heard. I've heard that they're, out of all of the Yoshi's Islands that aren't good, it's the best of a bad bunch, if that makes sense. Because you do have sort of like different babies, and it's a little. I might try it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see on that one. It's definitely better than picking up the new, sort of the not new 3DS, but just the 3DS
Yoshi's
game.
New Island.
Yeah, too many 3DS things. I don't know. Yeah, that game got pretty much critically panned. I think Yoshi's Island DS is, aside from the original, probably one of the better ones to go for. So
yeah.
I don't know, you could do well with that. It might be a little bit of trouble, but...
And that's just, in general, a really cool announcement. And then to top it off, they announced that Pandora's Tower and Sin and Punishment are both coming to the Wii Virtual Console. I can't remember when. I think in May or now. I can't remember.
They're coming pretty soon, but they also announced that there's going to be a discount on those. They're not going the full 50% this time, which I was like, oh, they're trying to fleece us for a bit more, because I think like these games are a little more desirable than some of the ones they released previously, because they're very rare, like they're very kind of niche titles, and I think Nintendo are counting on the audience who cares about these games are going to pay a higher price for them anyway, so they can get away with doing 25% off instead of the 50. But
Yeah.
I think most likely I'll probably try Sin and Punishment out of those two, because Pandora's Tower, I don't know, it was one of the Operation Rainfall games, but a lot of people said it's the weakest of the three. I'm way more focused on trying to play the last story, and I hope that gets released at some point. But probably Sin and Punishment, I'll put dollars down and have a look at that one, because that seems interesting and very unique, and kind of it's a genre that Nintendo hasn't done much with, aside from Kid Icarus Uprising, kind of the on-rail kind of 3D shooter. So yeah, we'll see about those. So yeah.
And then we had a game that has not been talked about for 2 years. And
oh boy, Bally, this is where the gloves come off. I tell you, it's getting hot in here. I've got to. Oh, jeez. I'll tell you what.
And it took me a while watching the trailer to even realize what this was, and that is.
I mean, it was the same for me.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's the same for me. I was kind of thinking, is it Shin Megami Cross Fire Emblem? Because I'm not sure. I kind of can't tell. But yes, as you.
And it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Shin Megami Cross Fire Emblem in this strange trailer. I know zero about Shin Megami Tensei, and it definitely feels like the bigger partner in this strange relationship of a game.
Yeah,
so.
It seems like Atlas has had a heavy hand in this for certain. Obviously, Nintendo are in there helping them on their end, but I mean, when you first see this trailer, it's kind of an overwhelming feast of color and like characters and very, very Japanese, of course. But the thing that struck me the most about it is how Persona it is. And, I have been playing Persona 4 Golden for the past 2.5 months or so, and I fucking love Persona 4 Golden.
Check out episode 37 to hear all about it.
Yeah, I'll probably be talking about it there. I fucking love that game so much. It's one of my favorite games I've ever played, and like easily one of my favorite JRPGs alongside Xenoblade. I am really happy and really excited that this game looks more like Persona than a classic Shin Megami Tensei game, because it essentially means that this is a crossover between like a Persona-style game and a Fire Emblem-style game, and I think my brain is going to fucking melt from the awesomeness that potentially could be. I'm really excited. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much we can say about it. Like, what they said was...
They didn't say anything about it, really. They just said... There it is.
No, they did mention like it's gonna be kind of based in a reality, but then kind of you go into this other world which is a fantasy. And that's kind of the crux of Persona as well. Is like you're living your everyday school life, but every so often you're going to go off into this TV world where there are demons and monsters you have to fight, and like definitely the monster designs that were being shown looked kind of like the enemies you'd fight in Persona, so it gave me that vibe even more. And there was also kind of these animated cutscenes. This girl at school, pops into her headphones, like walking around town, and we saw some of the 3D areas walking around town. That's really, really Persona as well. So they might as well rename this to Persona Cross Fire Emblem and get out of the way, man, because I think it would probably sell way better if they did that. Honestly, because Persona is a really popular franchise right now, and is only going to get bigger. Persona 5 is on the horizon, and that game is going to be a big deal. It's going to be a very big deal, and I'm looking forward to it. So, yeah, really excited. That was a big announcement for me, and a lot of people were just saying like this game is dead, and I even said in my predictions video like, because that guy, one of my Twitter followers mentioned wanting Shin Megami Cross. Sorry, I'm doing it now. Shin Megami Cross Fire Emblem, and I was like, yeah, probably not going to happen. That game's pretty much dead. And then out of nowhere, fuck it. Here's a trailer. Drop the bomb. Done. Loved it.
Well, the Direct went from your favorite genre of JRPG to your next favorite genre, which of course is horror.
Oh, fuck you, Bally!
Because they announced Project Zero series. Project Zero? I don't know.
Okay, so Shibata didn't actually say the name of this franchise, which it's more well known by, and it's known as Fatal Frame. This is the Fatal Frame series, which is basically based around the idea if you have a camera and you can only see ghosts when you look through them and take photos through the camera lens. And so it's really fucking scary because of that concept. Like,
Perfect for Wii U.
yeah, and it actually is, and it just makes your mind juices flow for a Pokemon Snap style game, because that's exactly what this is. So yeah, and the announcement that they did was like kind of pretty freaky, and I was like, oh, I can't even like watch this right now. I hate horror so much. I can't even watch this trailer. But I know a lot of people who are big fans of that franchise, and loads of people are going to be happy for it. And you know, it's another kind of more hardcore game. It's a more kind of mature title that people perhaps are looking for Nintendo to get more of on their system, and you know, helps to stand out from the crowd and be a bit different. I know Patrick Klepek, for one, is, you know, he's a huge fan of horror games and of the Fatal Frame franchise, and I know that he will be excited as hell to play that game. So maybe if I see anything about Fatal Frame, I'll be watching Patrick Klepek play it instead of you know, playing it myself, because I don't think I can handle that, quite honestly. So, yep, that's that.
And then they had Attack on Titan on 3DS.
Yeah, Attack on Titan is probably one of the most popular anime in Japan right now, and in the West, actually, it's become really big over here. I know Etika is a huge fan of Attack on Titan. I'm sure he's going to be uploading videos of him going fucking crazy over that announcement, because, you know, he's a big fan there. And yeah, I mean, here's the funny thing. I actually have watched the first episode of Attack on Titan. It's kind of freaky. It was decent. Like, it's kind of freaky, like the animation style. It kind of, I don't know, I felt a little scared of like these giants. They are very creepily drawn, and some of this kind of anime stuff, when it gets on a more of a horror angle, is some of the more scary stuff for me personally. So I didn't feel like comfortable enough continuing with the series, but I know a lot of people enjoy it. So, you know,
well, the first couple of episodes, I think they mentioned they're going to be on the eShop for free download.
Yeah, they didn't actually mention it would be on the Nintendo Anime channel, which is
which is
belong.
Very strange. Maybe it's a bit too adult for the anime channel. I don't know.
Maybe, who knows?
But for some reason, it's separated. And then this was another of your predictions, Nbz, for your.
I fucking nailed this one, apart from one thing, but yes.
Apart from one thing, and that's a Zero Striker Gunvolt, which is available now, Thursday, the 2nd of April.
Well, it is actually technically in the UK. It is now the 2nd of April, so yes, it is available now. Yes. Yeah, my prediction was that Azure Striker Gunvolt would be released straight after the Direct, and that it would come with a free home menu theme, because that's what Shovel Knight did, and I was thinking along the same lines, getting my juices flowing, and I was right, because they are giving away a free home theme. So, home theme, 3DS theme, yeah.
3DS theme.
So, yeah, I was absolutely right. That game looks really cool. A lot of kind of mixed impressions. I remember listening to RFN, who were talking about it when it came out in the US, and it seemed like Guillaume was pretty positive on it. James Jones maybe a little less so, but you know, it seemed like an interesting type of game and a cool spin on that Mega Man X style of action. So I'm totally down to try it out, and it also comes with a free download for Mighty Gunvolt, and of course looking forward to Mighty Number 9 coming out later this year. So. Yeah, that's great. Nailed the prediction.
So you're going to pick that up at some point?
Yeah, at some point. Maybe wait for a sale on it. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
And then a cool little puzzle game, Box Boy, which is available now, which looks pretty cool.
Yeah, and I tried to download on the eShop, but it wasn't available yet. I'm going to actually log on now and try and see if I can do it, download it right now. But I first heard of this game on a Japanese podcast, the Famicast. You should all go listen to those guys. They're great. It was called Hako Boy in Japan, and it's this kind of really interesting 2D, very minimalistic art style puzzle game where you're this little box, and you can create boxes outside of yourself and basically use them to cross obstacles, get over platforms, and do other neat stuff. And it looks really cool, and I'm very excited to play it. And it's probably going to be pretty cheap on the eShop as well. So that's one that I'm looking forward to. Do you think you'll pick this up, Bally? Any interest?
Yeah. I mean, I've got tons of stuff to play, and there's still loads of sort of puzzle platformers that I need to pick up, like Pushmo.
Yes, Pushmo, fantastic. Yeah.
So I need to play that perhaps first, but yeah, no, it does look interesting. I'd be up for trying it at some point. I'm interested to see what you think of it.
Yeah, no, I will be giving my impressions at some point there. So yeah. That's good.
And then we just had this massive mess of Pokemon stuff that I wasn't interested in called Pokemon Rumble World.
Yeah.
And I really. Blah, blah, blah,
Same.
blah.
I couldn't give less of a shit.
Blah.
Right. I don't know what these Pokemon Rumble games look like. Just a fucking train wreck. Quite honestly, they look like a mess of shit. Like Jesus, it looks like the most boring gameplay I've ever seen in a video game. The art style is kind of atrocious. Everything about it just smells for me. And
But
I
there's
am.
all 100, 750 or whatever
Oh,
there.
fuck that noise. Like, geez, I mean, I quit the main game of Pokemon, but, like, a lot of these spin-offs I couldn't even muster any less of a shit about. Like, geez.
Give us the pinball, give us the Pokemon Snap, give us the
Yeah,
Pokemon
give us the
Stadium.
spin-offs
These are
that
the
matter.
spin-offs. They're the ones that matter.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Not none of this Connect 3 fighter. Blah.
Yeah.
Blah. Anyway. Then we got a Street Pass update, which was really random. It's
Yay!
like they're giving Street Pass, one last little push before the end. Get get more people out there onto the street. So there's a fishing and a zombie game. Two separate games, I should say. The update is on April the 16th, and yeah, you can buy those individually or as a bundle alongside the previous other 4 games, I believe there were. And they're also they've got special Street Pass week coming on. I think that week starts April the 16th, which I guess it's just a big marketing push really to get more people Street Passing. And they also announced this thing called Street Pass VIP, where I didn't fully understand the benefits of it. You were able to see the birthdays of the people you Street Passed with, and you were also able to download celebrity Mii's or something. I didn't really see the benefit entirely. I don't know about you.
It seems like they're increasing the stalking capabilities of Street Pass, trying to find out as much about random people as possible. No, I also was very confused by this VIP thing. It's like pay $4.49 for these features, which don't seem relevant or useful at all. So yeah, give us money because yay, Street Pass. That's what it felt like to me.
It's like they just got lazy about making another game, and they just added this kind of.
They're like, we need to make more money out of people who love Street Pass, so let's just make up some bullshit and go. Like that's what I don't know. That was very questionable for me. That whole thing. So I was like, I'm not really down with that. But new Street Pass games is cool. I haven't downloaded any of the 4 other ones they released. You haven't either, Bally. I'm still kind of backlogged on my Street Pass. I still have puzzle pieces to get. I still have quests to go through. There's no reason for me to buy these right now. I'm not sure there ever will be, but I know that there are people who go to PAX all the time. Conventions are around. Loads of people who Street Pass. And for those people, absolutely, this is great. It gives them even more stuff to chew on and play with. So, yeah, I mean, it's good for the hardcore users of Street Pass.
Yeah, I get all I need with what I have, like yourself, Mewtwo, from Street Pass. I've not got the energy or the time to want to play more than the games I currently play with that feature. It just seems a bit not a waste of time, but I don't know. It just doesn't appeal to me. So then we had Puzzle and Dragons.
Yes, Puzzle and Dragons.
Puzzle and Dragons, and it's tied in with the Mario edition. It's all on one
Yeah,
game.
they announced this a while ago that they were going to release Puzzle and Dragons Z, which is the Japanese game that came out on 3DS, but they are combining it with a new version of Puzzle and Dragons, which is a Mario Brothers Special Edition. So it's basically a 2-pack. You get 2 games in one in the West, and that seems like a smart approach to do that. Wouldn't make sense to be like, oh, here's the first one and then release the Mario, because no one's going to buy a Puzzle and Dragons game here if it doesn't have some kind of franchise attachment. So they had to get Mario in there. Might as well throw in both games. In Japan, it's perfectly fine to split them up because Puzzle and Dragons is like the hottest shit possible in Japan. But over here, yep, makes sense. Was there a release date for that, or was there anything
May
else?
the 8th.
Right, and May the 8th is also supposed to be the release date of Kirby Rainbow Curse in Europe, which they didn't talk about at all in the direct, which was weird. I don't know why, but yeah. I know what game
And
I'd
there's
rather buy on
also
that day. So yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and there's also a demo for Puzzle and Dragons coming soon. He said, so
Yeah,
it
so I
needs to
mean,
be
like, it's
very soon.
good if to try the game out and see what it's all about. Drew Scanlon was actually talking a bit about it on the Bombcast this week, so he seems to like it a lot. So yeah, might give it a try with the demo.
Connect 3.
Yep,
Uh, uh,
yep,
Really? Okay.
yep.
Right.
I don't know.
Good luck.
All right.
Um, Then we had a little Codenames Steam announcement for Europe because us poor souls don't have it yet. So
Yeah,
that's going to
unfortunate.
be coming. Going to be coming May the 15th here. They didn't really. Did they show? They didn't show anything we don't know because of all the US reviews and
Right,
things.
I mean, the game is already out in North America, so they're kind of talking about, oh, by the way, here's a mode where you're in a giant mech fighting as Abe Lincoln in a mech, but we already know that because the game is out in another country.
Yeah.
This is a problem with, like, the global market and, being able to have the internet and know stuff, is that this stuff becomes irrelevant very, very quickly if you try and, split it by region. And that's why I'm very much hoping that Nintendo's next platform, they just fucking throw the towel in on that shit and say, nope, no region specific, let's go region free and never have these issues again because it really annoys me. And yeah, it sucks. Sucks for Europe. Totally.
And then we had a pretty awesome trailer and explanation afterwards, and that was for not named yet, but the sort of temporary name is Fire Emblem If,
In
which is
Japan,
the next
anyway.
Fire
So.
Emblem. Yes, exactly. And that's coming out in 2016. But woof, what a trailer! I am
Yeah,
excited for that. That looks cool.
like
I
I'm
think.
the resident Fire Emblem guy here. Of course, I'm a huge fan of the series, and I love every game I've played apart from Shadow Dragon. Shadow Dragon, go fuck itself. But Bally, you just finished your first Fire Emblem game, which was Fire Emblem 7,
I
and
did. I
yeah,
did.
you are really excited about this as well. So it's looking fantastic, really is.
Yeah, and it's this idea where they've sort of evolved the idea of from Fire Emblem Awakening, where your custom character is just sort of a side character to the main hero, whereas in this one, your custom character is the main. They're the main hero. They're the main lord, or whatever you would call them in Fire Emblem. Um, and they basically have lots of different choices to make, and it's this a cool story where your bloodline is with one sort of country, and your loyalty and the way you've been raised has been like with another country, and you have to make lots of decisions. And you noted down the two names, Mez, but yeah,
Yeah,
basically
they're called Hoshido and Nor, and I think Hoshido is like the white side and Nor is like the black side, and they kind
yeah.
of do this thematic split between the two.
Yeah, and he implied that there were lots of choices you would make, and it changed the storyline based on that. It wasn't clear whether there was lots of different forks or just one fork that got affected further down the line. But it just seemed really cool that you were torn between these sides, and that there was rivalries and things like that, and it just
Yeah,
looked really cool. And
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Totally amazing stuff. I'm always down for more Fire Emblem. The thing I'm kind of curious about is, will this be a Sacred Stone situation where you have a split kind of storyline? Will you start out like in a single kind of main mission thread and then have like divergence happen? Or will it be from the outset, from the very beginning of the game, you choose a side? Because if that happens, like the replayability value with Fire Emblem, if you do two separate storylines, is immense. Like the game is already crazily replayable because of the different characters and the different classes and everything. But having two completely separate paths with different missions and storylines, that could be potentially huge. And really exciting, and I'm very much looking forward to finding out more about it. Obviously, 2016 title. I'm predicting it's going to be 2015 in Japan, probably a holiday release there, if not late summer. Like it definitely seems pretty far on in development. They just need to get that localization sorted out, and obviously localization takes time. 2016 for us. I'm not complaining. because got plenty of other stuff to play in that time in between. So
It gives me time to try and play through Sacred Stones and Awakening.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, get
Or at
your
least try
homework
to.
done. Get your homework done.
Exactly. So much homework to do. But
Absolutely. All
hopefully
right, we're getting
fun,
close to the
fun,
end here,
fun
Bally.
homework.
So
We are. There's basically two more announcements. Animal Crossing cards.
tell me, Bally, how you like those trading card games, those video trading game card things.
I'm not really into any of them anymore.
No, used to be, used to
Yeah.
be. But
Yeah,
these
people are a
aren't
bit
just cards; these are Amiibo cards that they talked about again in an investor thing, where they were like, "Yeah, more Amiibos, but this time they won't be super rare because they're cards and you
How
can find them
can
everywhere."
we make more amiibos more cheaply but keep them just as collectible? Let's turn them into cards. It's just
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Well, do you want to talk about like the thing that they're being used with?
Yeah, so it's
Animal Crossing
called
game?
Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, which I believe is free content, but
They didn't
it
actually
was
say that. That's kind of my running
didn't they?
theory, though. I don't think they actually said it was
Yeah.
free to download. But
But
anyway,
I put money on it being free, and then yeah, obviously you pay for the cards, and with these cards you scan them with this new add-on that's coming, and basically you help an animal pick furniture or something. Like I
yeah,
don't
I
know,
was a
it
little bit
just
more up on this than you seem to be. What it seems is like you're designing a room in Animal Crossing. And look, I'm going to be perfectly honest. One of my favorite aspects of Animal Crossing, just as a franchise, is that whole aspect of creating your own space and making a room that looks cool and has awesome shit in it and has like a good design aesthetic. It's a really neat part of it. I just kind of question what the depth is going to be here, if any at all. It seems like a way to sell people who like Animal Crossing and aren't necessarily going to go out and buy a Wii U for like a potential Wii U game, because it's a 3DS thing that they're doing here. So we'll see.
it was weird. I'm not interested. I don't know. I don't know how interested you are, Mewtwo, but
I mean,
it's
if it's free, I'll try it. Simple as that. So
yeah, sure.
yeah,
I agree.
yeah,
And then we kind of this was an obvious one, but Mario Kart 8 DLC,
yeah.
and it's like, oh hey, here's this Animal Crossing course they already knew about, and then here's it changes with the seasons. Isn't that cool? It's like, yeah, that is cool. That is really
To
cool.
me, honestly, that course looked a bit bland. I wasn't super impressed by the stuff that they showed of it. It was
Yeah,
okay. It
it,
wasn't jumping out to me at all.
it's no Mute City or Hyrule Castle. I thought those two tracks on the last DLC pack were fantastic. They were so great. I really liked those. So that was it. That was cool. They were very coy about the other 7 tracks that come
Well,
with
they
this
also, funnily
DLC.
enough, moved the release date forward. It's no longer going to be a May release. It's now
Yes,
April
it was like
23rd, is what they said.
April 23rd
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is amazing. That is it. When does that ever happen?
Yeah,
When
not
does
very
that
often the video games come brought forward instead of being pushed back, so I'm pleased with that. And kind of them not telling us more about the tracks kind of leads me to believe like next couple of weeks they're gonna over Twitter or whatever they'll be like, oh, by the way, here's a new
Yes,
track, and kind of
yes.
throw it
Here's a new
out there.
track. Ta-da!
Yeah, and it's
Ta-da!
a good
Ta-da!
way to roll the hype and
Yeah.
get that going, get people excited for the DLC
Fair
coming up,
enough. You're
and
right.
keep awareness in the air. Because if they blew their load right now, then they wouldn't be able to do that and keep pushing things slowly forward until they hit the release. So that makes a lot of sense that they would do that. So not super surprised.
And finally, oh
Finally,
boy,
I
oh
don't know.
boy.
You're really excited about this. I'm not super, but I think it's
Yeah,
cool.
I am very, very, very excited about this. So they showed this trailer, which progressively went from Mario Kart on the SNES to the N64 to the GameCube, and then they go 50cc, then they went 100cc, and then they went 150cc, and I was kind of like, what is this all about? I had no idea. You were more on top of this
I
than
called it
me.
straight away. I was like, obviously
You
they're
knew about
building
this.
up to a new CC
Then,
class, 200
so
CC.
yeah, 200cc, and I was gobsmacked. I think this is a fantastic idea. I think It's a cool, quirky thing that I don't think anyone would have ever predicted. For some, I think I always had 150 in my mind as it would never go higher than that. Why would it? That's already quite quick. So I think that's a great idea. This is faster Mario Kart. I'm a huge F-Zero fan, as I'm sure listeners of the podcast know. So I think that if you can't beat them, join them, as they say. So like, if you can't have an F-Zero game, just turn Mario Kart into F-Zero. I mean, it's a shame that F-Zero still isn't here, but I think this is a great announcement, and speed it all up, changes the whole game entirely. This comes, I should say, with the DLC, not with it comes the same day as the DLC, but it's free DLC, if that makes sense. The other DLC you have to pay for. I love this announcement. Really, really happy. What do you think?
The thing for me was I saw it and I was like, oh, really? 200cc, really? Because it didn't seem like, oh, it's going to be that much faster. But when they showed the gameplay, that's when I actually got kind of more excited, because the speed at which it actually runs is really pretty fast. Like, the stuff they were pulling off and like the shortcuts they were doing with that added speed was kind of awesome. Like, it totally lets you think that Nintendo have given up on F-Zero, unfortunately, because not only do they have this whole gravity thing going, but now they're giving you the same kind of level of speed that you would find. Obviously, probably not as high as F-Zero, because F-Zero is stupidly high, but they're giving you the same sense of speed, at least, as an F-Zero game. So yeah, and I mean, like, now a bunch of people have more reasons to go play single-player Mario Kart again, because there's a whole new class unlocked, and not only do you have 32 tracks from the original base game, you now have 16 more from the 2 DLC packs. So that's like a load more single-player content if you want to, just go through that, which, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of Mario Kart single-player, but, it's content. It's there for you to do, so.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. So, like, I mean, overall, Nbz feelings.
It was good. I think there was nothing like super nuts crazy, but there was a lot of really solid things in there. The virtual console stuff, fantastic. I really liked the Shin Megami Cross Fire Emblem trailer. I really liked the new details about Fire Emblem. Really, really good things happening. And to top it all off, the Smash Brothers potential. And that's the thing that I want to emphasize more than anything else. I may not be super excited about Mewtwo. I may not be super excited about Lucas. But the potential of any character, that's the seed that's been planted here. So
Let's start that Shovel Knight campaign. Here we go. We can do it.
Going. So yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree.
All right. Well, before we go, I put out the call on Twitter for some questions here, and I thought we might answer a couple of these. At Airspeed Prime asks, thoughts on the lack of games exclusively for the new 3DS? Any thoughts on that, Bally? Because, of course, so far we don't have really anything that's exclusive for new 3DS announced.
This is maybe a side part to that question, but I was surprised that none of the new virtual console releases related to the new 3DS. Like, I think both of us have kind of agreed that we think that the new 3DS was going to have, whether it was a DS virtual console or a Game Boy Advance virtual console or something, it was going to have some sort of unique virtual console downloadable thing on the new 3DS, and it's a bit strange that that didn't happen. Otherwise, I think not really that surprising. I think it's far too risky to divide the market, and I don't think you're going to see anything over the top that isn't either a remake or, I mean, they might do virtual console on the new 3DS in the future. I don't think there'll be anything too much more than that.
I have a feeling that my prediction is halfway true at the moment, because E3 will be the next step where they fulfill, the new 3DS prediction, where they will have the cross-buy stuff happening. I think they are expecting to launch the membership program, the DNA developed membership program, in kind of August time, like in the fall, and that seems like a likely E3 announcement to be like, coming soon. We're gonna then have the 3DS being implemented with the Wii U library, and I don't know.
And it's like they already said that like N64 games you bought on the Wii can be transferred over to the Wii U for like £1.70 or something. So it's like they are training us almost to have this collection of virtual console games that we are going to be able to eventually either cross over to somewhere or have as a family. Like they are protecting that collection that people are accumulating. So
Yeah.
that is quite positive, and I really hope and pray that they don't, for some reason, just cut that all off and say, okay, no, you actually have to re-download it all brand new on this new framework or new system with the NX or whatever. I really hope they keep it all together. And obviously, I'd be happy to upgrade my games to on the NX for, I don't know, a quid a game or something. That's fine, but I don't want to have to re-download everything from start to finish. And I just hope that this Direct was the start of just that accumulation of all different Nintendo virtual console devices. So coming together, N64 and DS now added.
Yeah, absolutely. It's yeah, well, I think we'll definitely hear more about that in the future. But for the moment, at least we got the virtual console games, Bally. At least fucking
Great.
DS and N64's here, so I'm happy.
Advance Wars DS.
Yeah, yeah. One day, one day. At Drag Glitch says, how do you feel about SMT Cross Fire Emblem looking more like Persona than SMT? I think I kind of covered this already, but I will emphasize again. I've never played a Shin Megami Tensei game. I've only played Persona 4 Golden, and with that in mind, I am way more excited for this game than I was before. So it's actually raised the stakes for me when perhaps I was potentially going to be more down on it for the Shin Megami Tensei side. So yes, from my end, looking good. Very happy about that, and we'll see where that goes. And then I think we'll close with this one. Dankaze at Dankaze Midori asks, which side will you take in the new Fire Emblem? Don't know anything better right now because of the overwhelming information from the Direct. So, Bally, which side do you think you would choose, first of all? Because obviously, for me, I'm going to play through both as a matter of course, just as a Fire Emblem guy. But which one do you think you would go for?
I'll play through the one that you don't, so that we can have that, have a balance. I'm happy for you to pick first, and I'll come up the rear.
Right.
I might play it twice as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No, that's a great idea, actually, especially for discussion on the podcast and kind of talking about the differences in conversation and dialogue and the story beats and the mission structure and everything. Yeah, I mean, generally the way that I roll with that sort of stuff is I want to take like the obvious good path first, and they did say, actually, you know what we didn't mention is they did say that the difference between these two is that Hoshido is supposedly going to be the easier version and the more obvious Fire Emblem plot-based one, whereas the Nora option is going to be a bit harder and more different and more complex. So maybe that wouldn't be the best of ideas, because I would probably just go with the easy one to start off with and then hop to the harder one afterwards. But we can figure that out when more details emerge. For now, I think that's it's good enough stuff for us to get excited about. So yeah, it was a good Nintendo Direct, Bally. How would you rate it out of 10?
Good.
Give me a score.
8.
Yeah. I would tend to agree. I think it's pretty solid 8. It was delivered some fantastic news and lots of promises for the future.
I think to get 9 or 10, you have to have those, big game announcements. So I in the past, I'd use Link Between Worlds as an example, I'd say. Yeah. But then if you've just got loads of little biddly bobbly small announcements, then you're kind of looking at 5 and the 6s. But this was right at the top of everything bar a massive game announcement, and top stuff.
Yeah, and quite honestly, I wasn't expecting a massive game announcement. We're 2 months out from E3. They're going to be holding those close to their chest. They want to have way more excitement around that than just a standard Nintendo Direct. So totally understandable that there wouldn't be any crazy, ridiculous announcements. But yeah, I think it definitely delivered more than what I expected. So I'm happy. Well, Bally, I think we are pretty much coming to a close on our discussion here. Before we go, let's plug ourselves where you can find us and where you can listen to more of our voices. So where can people find you, Bally, and our podcast?
So on Twitter, my account is at Ballyman91. That's BALLYMAN91. I'm sure there'll be a link in the description if Nbz
Absolutely.
could be so kind.
Yes.
And more importantly, I must admit, is our brand new podcast Twitter account. You can follow all the updates on recent episodes, any videos that we put up. That's all going to be on that Twitter account, and that is at TNL Podcast. So that's TNL Podcast. So do give that one
this
a follow.
Nintendo Life.
Indeed.
So yeah.
And we will be recording this weekend, so look out for the next episode.
Yes, and we should have a guest on this weekend. So that's exciting.
Ooh, first announcement. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you can find me on the internet. I'm at Lord Nbz on Twitter. Again, find the podcast. You can download it on iTunes. Just search for This Nintendo Life. We're on SoundCloud. Again, This Nintendo Life. Just search for us there. And we are also on Stitcher, which is a radio kind of podcast app, I believe, which is pretty popular with some people. So you can find us on Stitcher as well, This Nintendo Life. That's going to be us. Thank you for joining me and Bally. And I guess until next time when we do another one of these, see you then. So goodbye, everyone.
Bye.